doing the past few days, lying in bed reading
Did you know about this coming up next week?
There is guaranteed brutality from the police. What we saw, we've all seen the 7:30 footage. We've all seen the footage on 7:30. We all know what happened. A young bloke in the station, he is running away from the police. He trips, he falls down the stairs. A copper goes after him, grabs him and handcuffs him. Then I counted 7, people say 6, coppers came and picked him up. He resisted being picked up, as you would, and he got tasered. There are 3 things wrong with that story. The first thing wrong with that story is that tasering was only ever supposed to be used when a policeman was at risk, or felt they were at risk. There is no way that one bloke could have put 5 or 6 or 7 police at risk. And certainly not a bloke who just hit his head, and certainly not a bloke who had his hands handcuffed behind his back. The second thing wrong with that was, instead of saying to this guy, "Are you okay? Do we need to get medical treatment to you?" what happened was they just instantly decided to get him to his feet and walk him away. If the guy had had a brain injury, he would have been dead. But there was no concern about whether he had a brain injury. The sole concern, was to get him out of there and to brutalise him. The third thing wrong with this story is that it is a violation of the social contract between the police and the community of New South Wales. The police are here to serve and protect. They were not serving by tasering that guy, nor are they protecting anybody by tasering that individual. That bloke was out for a night on the town. Possibly he had too much to drink, possibly he used some rude words, possibly he didn't stop when the police asked him to stop. Nothing in that justifies the behaviour of the police. And if the police continue with the proposition that that was okay, as they did to the 7:30 report, when confronted with the evidence, the police said that that taser was used in accordance with police guidelines, then no one is safe. We have lost that social contract about serve and protect. Your presence here today sends a message to the police, sends a message to the O'Farrell government that it is not appropriate, it is absolutely not appropriate for tasers to be used as weapons to subdue individuals. It was purely used in this case to stop the guy squirming. It was not used to protect themselves, it was not used to protect anybody else. This is a transition in the use of tasers. My party, the Greens, and most of you here, all of you here I imagine, have difficulties with tasers in the first place. We have concerns about the nature of the weapon, the idea of inflicting pain as the appropriate way of dealing with a police situation. But what we all have huge problems with is the indiscriminate use of tasers. The absolutely indiscriminate use of tasers, and what we saw was indiscriminate tasering. I would want to say that not one of us is safe, but what I really want to say is not one of us who is not white, English speaking and middle class is not safe with the police with tasers. This is part of a class war. That guy, let's be frank and let's be open, let's be honest about that. That guy had been white and that had happened in Bondi Junction railway station, there would not have been a taser used. That guy had been a middle class guy, brought up in Australia, that taser would not have been used. This was a bunch of white police using a taser against a guy who was born in Africa. It makes it a whole lot worse that this is not just indiscriminate use of a weapon that should not be in the possession of police. It makes it a whole lot worse. It was indiscriminate use against a man who came here as a refugee. We need to have police, but we need to have police whose mission is to serve and protect. And we need to have police who know that when they do the wrong thing, as they have done now, they will get into trouble for it. The fundamental problem with New South Wales is that there is no feedback to the police. This episode, if it's investigated at all, will be investigated by other police. Police investigating police does not work. Time and again, police close ranks. Time and again, police find nothing to see here, police move on. It is time fundamentally to shift the culture, and the only way to shift the culture is to have independent oversight of the police. My colleague David Shoebridge, who apologises he couldn't be here this afternoon, has been moving and agitating for an independent police oversight group. Once we get independent oversight, we get the opportunity for a genuine investigation of episodes such as the one we saw. We get an opportunity for the police to know they do the wrong thing. If they fail in their social contract on serve and protect and move it into beat and neglect, they will pay the penalty for doing that. The police are not above the law. They're supposed to enforce the law. We are here today to say to the police and to the O'Farrell government, you can enforce the law, but you are not above it. You must obey the law. The law has been broken. The law has clearly been broken with the use of that taser. It is time to correct the episode. Let's have a police force that responds to the community. Let's have a police force that serves and protects. Thank you so much for coming this afternoon. Thank you.
I guess first I'd like to acknowledge that we meet upon stolen land. This land is the Darug people. Sovereignty was never ceded. So I guess I'd like to reference something that happened around March. So people dressed up like that, thugs who dressed up like that, decided queers were pieces of shit that they could bash, that they could make bleed, and that they could throw under the bus. So first there was Jamie Jackson, and a bunch of you have seen the YouTube videos. It went online, it was like 50,000 hits, just like that. Bunch of cops just ganging up on a little kid who didn't really do all that much. And then we had this whole media spin like, oh no, Jamie deserved it. As if anyone could deserve to have a bunch of thugs, you know, taser, Glock, gun, and a bunch of mates in some armour attack you. As if this can ever be okay. This was also followed up, so a friend of mine, Bryn, who used to be one of the conveners of Community Ash Against Homophobia, for jaywalking after Mardi Gras closed, some cops homed in on him, and he now has nerve damage in his hands. He's got a court case that's still ongoing. Actually, the court case, if you want to visit, is Wednesday, 9:30, Downing Centre. Just like a little plug there. So these sorts of things, these thugs ganging up on queers and Mardi Gras, like, wow, no-brainer, especially considering the Mardi Gras history, 1978, people taking up this public space, and the cops bearing down on them again. Because what else do thugs do? But this doesn't end there. It's not just a crime against queers, and we see this here. We see a child of Sudanese family, refugee family, I believe. We see cops come down on someone who was attacked by 6 individuals swarming around him, and then you get tasered. What is that? Really, think about that. Think about someone bearing down on you with something that pushes electricity through your body. Can that ever be okay? I would say no, because that kind of violence is fucked. I suppose it's important for us to think about what's on our signs and why they're so valid. This group, the cops, are people who've attacked queers, they've attacked unionists, picketers, they've attacked women, they've attacked people of colour, and we will not stand it. So I guess, like, have a little bit of a chant, which will reminisce of our sign. So, stop police attacks on gays, women and blacks! 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 Stop police attacks on gays.
When things like this occur, and unfortunately they occur far too often. So I too want to acknowledge that we're on Darug land. Partly why Ben's asked me to speak is because I've been involved in the refugee rights movement for 13 years. This young man was a refugee. Now, a lot of the vilification we get every day in the media is of asylum seekers who've come here by boat. But sometimes the government tries to say, oh, the good refugees that come through the camps, and overwhelmingly the Sudanese who came here between 2005 and 2008 were those people who came through the offshore program, through the UN camps, and came here. Yet, those people too are subjected to the kind of systematic racism that we see, you know, in Australian society every day. Yesterday, I was at the Teachers Federation Council meeting, and we passed what I thought was a pretty strongly worded anti-racism policy, where we said that every, you know, student, whether they are of high school age, primary school age, TAFE age, regardless of their, you know, cultural or ethnic background, have the right to, you know, fully access without barriers education. We know, for example, people on bridging visas and so on are expected to pay fees ludicrously expected to pay fees to go to TAFE. These are the kinds of pathways to ensure that people can actually have a meaningful existence in their new society, participate in a meaningful way in their new society, yet barriers are put up to that kind of access, not only to education but a whole lot of other services. Also, 2 days a week I work one train station from here at Doonside High School as a refugee transition teacher. There are some amazing students of refugee background in that school. Most of them are from African refugees, and when I saw that footage I thought that could have been the student that I support or withdraw from their English or history class. That could have been, you know, any number of those students, because I know they have fed back to me, you know, whether they haven't been drunk on a Friday night, but they have fed back to me, you know, that they've been, you know, harassed in the street, whether that's by, you know, ignorant people just making comments about, you know, go back to Africa, you know, but we know as well that some of that prejudice is concentrated in the state, in the forces that enforce the sort of racist institutional laws that we have. So when I saw that, I thought they absolutely have to come here, and you know, I'll be reporting back to them when I go back to Doonside High School tomorrow that there was a crowd of 50, 60, 70 people here to say that that kind of harassment, whether it's of that individual person or of anyone from that, you know, background, or anyone from a non-English speaking background, you know, that it's not to be tolerated, and people are prepared to stand up against it. Thanks.
And we don't forget young people and others of colour, of refugee background, trying to find a place in our community. And so I thank you for taking this time to come on a Sunday afternoon. This is important. This has to continue. And thank you for Ben and everyone who organised it. And especially as a mum who is raising children in this area, I am worried. And I continue to be worried. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, we've got Josh next from, again, from Iraq. He's going to make a quick announcement.
Oh, just a couple of things, I guess. In February, there's two things coming up. One, which is, I guess, more of a political point, but it's the next time when a bunch of us who were arrested in the Occupy Sydney episode, or whatever you want to call it, movement, are next going to be appearing in court, which I guess is one of the real examples all around the world of when the real role of the police was highlighted for millions of people around the place, which is not to serve and protect, but to repress, to be, as someone's sign, I think Lindsay's sign has it, gangsters on behalf of the corporate elite. That's the real role of the police, I think, in society, and that's why they continue to act this way. It's why I don't think they can be reformed. That's why I think they need to be abolished, you know, along with the stand against the whole system everywhere. But the main point I wanted to make is that next February is also the 10th anniversary of the killing by the police of TJ Hickey, the 17-year-old Aboriginal man in Redfern. And every year there's been an ongoing protest on the February the 14th, which is the anniversary of his death, against the police there in Redfern who killed him, who got away with it as they always do, and all the rest of it. So, as I said, every year there's been protests. People have not taken it lying down. People would remember, of course, that when the killing first happened, there was a mass riot in Redfern by the residents there, by people there in opposition to the police, which is a really heroic and I think inspiring stand at the time. But next year is going to be probably the biggest of any of the rallies because it is a 10th year anniversary, and they have been continuing to get bigger, not smaller, because people are refusing to allow this injustice to go unchallenged. So people should put that in their diaries, whatever, and help to build a rally. We do already have some leaflets for it, have just been made, I think, although I don't have any here with me, sadly. But that's going to be February the 14th, meeting as it always does at Waterloo Park, where TJ was killed by the police, and marching up to Redfern Station, which is the usual thing that happens on the march there. So they're always really moving, and full credit goes to TJ's family for never giving up, never demanding justice, and to the people in the Indigenous Social Justice Association, people like Ray Jackson, who have continued to fight for justice for TJ and for all Aboriginal people killed in custody. So yeah, keep that in mind for next year's 10th anniversary.
Thank you for that. Christian, are you ready to go?
That's alright, I don't really feel like leaving.
Well, that's okay. Well, hands up, anyone?
What are we putting our hands up for?
To speak. Mr. Pink.
Okay.
I was just watching these cops over here having a nice laugh while everyone was speaking. Do you want to tell us what was funny? What was it that amused you so much? Was it the fact that you know that the laws that apply, that you're supposed to be applying on behalf of these people and on behalf of the young people in this state, you don't apply except for your own benefit? Is that why every time the cop has killed somebody, they haven't been prosecuted for it, much less jailed for it?
Shame! Fuck the police! Shame!
One of the earlier speakers gave us three reasons why we came here. I'm going to give you a fourth in relation to tasers. The reasons that the previous speaker gave are all relevant. The best fucking reason is that they should not be armed with tasers. Tasers kill. You are arming them with a weapon that kills all over the world. And why would you expect that New South Wales police will not kill with it? Why would you expect that New South Wales police would not use it on children? It's used on children by police forces all over the world.
Shame!
For the people that aren't here, by your not being here, you're consenting to these actions by police. Is that what you want to do? People don't see you press the like button on Facebook. We've seen and we've cringed at the application of law. We've looked at the demographic of the police force. The police are supposed to be public servants. If you look at the public service, on average, 36% of the public service are European descent. What percentage of the police are of European descent? And that might go to tell you something about who they apply the law on behalf of. We say, the whiter you are, the righter you are. That's how you apply your law, isn't it? That's why it's Aboriginal kids that get tasered and shot.
Shame!
That's shame! It's Sudanese kids that get tasered and shot.
Shame!
That's why it's Vietnamese. Well, you know what, people? That's what used to happen. Today they're getting bolder. Today they're even starting to taser white kids on the North Shore because they know that the creeping laws that are being passed are encroaching on your freedoms and giving them more power. Next Sunday at Parliament we protest the Vlad laws. The Vlad laws ascribe penalties for offences only to bikies so far. But at the discretion of Scipione, that can be extended to unions or anybody else. These are what give the police the comfort to know that they can go out and taser people, shoot people, and cover it up in an inquiry run by cops. And for as long as you have the police investigating the police, it's like the mafia having the Don investigate them. And you wouldn't be down with that, would you?
Thank you very much for that. Again, anyone interested? Otherwise, we're probably going. Yep. Sorry to you, right?
My name's Bill. I'm active amongst unemployed issues. Basically, cops are barbaric people who attack all sorts of people. They attack gay people. They've attacked kids in the western suburbs. They've killed black people in custody. They are instruments of working class power, and we must unite against them. Now what we need is working class power to fight ruling class power. The workers of this country must unite in solidarity with young people, with black people, with unemployed people, when they are attacked by the system, and this will happen all the time. Now we're very appreciative of the fact that this attack at Blacktown Station was exposed by the media, but I'm sure it is just because of the iceberg. We must be vigilant, we must be organised, and we need this unity so we can win. So the balance of force is on our side. The more force we've got on our side, the more reticent they will be to attack, and basically if we have the force to win, then one day we will beat them. Basically, we need unity to fight for state. Thanks.
Our last speaker is Shane from Sydney.
I just want to make a comment that continually throughout human history, the enforcement of the oppressors have always used the line and the logic, I'm just doing my job. I don't think that's acceptable. Okay, if you saw a guy in a back alley stabbing someone to death and you said, hey buddy, what are you doing? And he turns around and says, hey, I'm just doing my job, alright? I'm just paid to do this. You would call him an asshole. Alright? Wearing a uniform doesn't make you not an asshole.
Justice! No peace! Fuck the police! No justice! No peace! Fuck the police! No justice! No peace! Fuck the police! Cops! Pigs! Murderers! Cops! Pigs! Murderers! Cops! Pigs! Murderers! Not enough justice! Too many cops! 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 Not enough justice! No justice! No peace! Fuck the police! No justice! No peace!
The police.
Fuck the police! Fuck the police! No justice! No peace! Fuck the police! No justice! No peace! Fuck the police! No justice!
Have given me so much. But I came from a country that is war-torn. And you all know which country it is. I came here to seek peace. Be free and do something.
Hey, we got right to say.
And I'm free in this country to do the right things.
Ooh, all right, well, that doesn't come to me.
When I came to this country, I expect so much. I didn't want to be beat
White
up.
man, you're not justice, but
I didn't want to be.
white man justice.
I didn't want to be pulled down from the. How can I say it? I don't want to be dragged down in the street when I'm almost dying. This country, the very country that I came to protect me, is no longer protecting me. How is that fair? Is that fair? No! Well, I want a fair go too. If a decision is to be made about who is to be arrested, and then a decision has to be made too on who is to be investigated. In my view, and you guys know very well, the officers that were involved in the assault of these young guys need to be investigated.
Amen.
And need to be criminally charged as well.
Yeah.
Unless there is exception. And there is no exception if there is equal justice. Is there equal justice, guys?
No way.
Well, there have to be a justice. And I ask all of you to raise your hands. Your right hand or left hand and raise your hand. Yes. We want justice.
We want justice. We want justice. We want justice.
So that we can coexist. So that we can coexist So that you won't have fear.
No fear.
I ask you one more thing. Do you really want to see your son, your daughter being dragged down in the street? No! Don't you want your child to be protected by the police? You do, yes? Yes. Not to be assaulted by them, yes? Yes. So I ask you to say, no more assault from the police. No more assault from the police. No more use of tasers. 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 Thank you.
I want to say that Deng has spent years volunteering, trying to bring the police and the community together in better cross-cultural communication. That's thousands of hours together to try to make this work. And after all those years of trying to make things work, we're here, Deng, the same spot where we started, where they forgot how to treat us. So we need to do a lot more. Amen. Amen.
Yes. Day. I wasn't in the meeting, and I'm not sure about what exactly happened, but I know a little bit of the ink. First of all, I would like to appreciate and give thanks to Australia for accommodating all of us. Second, I pay my attribution to the indigenous people. Third, it's the law and justice that we are here today. Anyway, first of all, we are human beings. Police are people like us. They should treat us as like themselves, and their colleagues like they are working in the police. And we should treat them also like our members of the family. That's one thing I might say. Second, we want justice. Even police themselves want justice too. They do something wrong, Deng has mentioned it is going to be investigated. If I do something wrong, are you happy with me? No. That's the same thing. Let's treat others fairly, like we treat ourselves. Let's take Australia to be a safe community and health community. I also thank all of you for coming out and do your demonstration very peacefully. The message is clear, it's strong, and it's heard. I would say thank you so much for inviting me and recognizing me to be among you. I do not know what had exactly happened, but you made me hear and know what has happened. So the world, Australia, will know tonight about the things that we are doing to ourselves. If the police are not protecting us, let's tell them to protect us, not to hurt us, like you have said. They have heard it, and let us not also treat police like they are not ourselves. Let's follow law and regulations, and let's give police their right to do and implement law, but not to hurt us. Is that message clear? Yes. Their job is to implement law, not to hurt us.
Arrest John Howard.
It's not my law.
Arrest law criminals.
It's a law made by the rich.
It's a law made by all of us. You could be a judge. You could be a judge tomorrow. You could be a police tomorrow.
The law is made by politicians. The law is made by the rich. And bad laws need to be broken.
If you want the law to be there, treating us equally and justice, let's all work hard for it.
Revolution.
By others.
They're above the law. They think they're above the law.
Nobody's above the law.
They are. Why haven't they been sacked? Why haven't they been charged?
You are also in charge.
They should be charged. If the law was fair, they'd be in jail right now.
And investigate the rules of what all had happened. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you to do your demonstration very peacefully tonight. Thank you. It is wide and clear. Thank you so much.
Shame, pig, shame!
Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame! Shame, pig, shame!
You look at the uniform of a criminal organisation that have killed multiple people, multiple nationalities in this country. They started off with Aboriginals and they were happy they could get away with it. Then they went to Italians, Vietnamese, Greeks. Who is it this time? Arabs, is that?
Hey guys, how come you haven't invested John Howard for taking us to Iraq on false pretext? Like, isn't that a bit more dangerous than a drunk teenager? How do you guys process your reality?
When are you going to apologise for your brutality?
When are you going to fire those 7 bastards who taken that kid?
When are you going to fire your corporate masters and come back and work for the people?
Police investigate police. There is never the justice that we deserve.